platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.
Hi, everybody. We are live. I'm your host, Bill Noble. Welcome to the Token Metrics Monday live stream brought to you by tokenmetrics.com. I'm here with my colleague, Forrest. Forrest, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Bill. How about you?
I'm great. Thank you. So Crypto Stackers and Cypher hitting the stream first. Good afternoon, everybody. We're happy to see you. Obviously, we want you to subscribe, hit that like button, and turn on alerts. We've got a Thursday stream as well, and there may be pop-up streams if the market goes crazy. We're almost at 100K, so we need you to help us get there. As we said earlier, we're going to go through, the market update, and Forrest is going to jump in, and we're going to look at his work, talk about the markets, and if we can get those likes going, I've got a rather robust altcoin overtime that also talks about the metaverse. So I know that's a big topic. We covered the metaverse on our podcast, Mop Up Monday, which you can also see on YouTube. Forrest, did I miss anything there?
I think that covers it.
All right. So without further ado, let's jump into your market update. We're calling it Burn, Then Turn. I'm going to give you the bottom line at the start. So if there's a dip over the next 4 days, take advantage of it. You don't have to be in a hurry right this second, okay? Because we don't know how big the dip could be, if any. So let's step right into it with Bitcoin. Forrest has got some, obviously, he always does. He's got some really nifty Bitcoin work, which we're going to share. So please stay tuned and keep hitting the like button. In my work, 64K is the relevant Gann angle for Bitcoin. Bitcoin takes that out, and we all know how Bitcoin acts when it really breaks out. They go with it. Probably the whole market goes with it. But if Bitcoin doesn't break out and you've got this sort of weird FOMO in meme coins going on, feels like, the meme coins are kind of like it's like the only game in town, maybe outside the metaverse. Then if Bitcoin can't take out 64K, you may have 4 days to chill out to see if the market dips or goes sideways. So today's November 1st. And if you're watching this, say out 3 or 4 days, ask yourself, hey, did we get a dip? And if so, that might be the opportunity. Now, ETH, obviously, the supply is shrinking. So any dip in ETH is getting bought. There was a lot of FOMO on Friday, nasty weekend dip. Okay. And again, for Ethereum on November 1st, the question isn't, is it going to go up? The question is, how is it going to go up? Is it going to be a stair step or is it going to be a rocket ship? I'm kind of more in favor of the stair step function, only because like November and December are the last 2 months of what I would call regular Fed QE. In other words, the QE that we've been used to. After December, it starts tailing off. Now, what you're like, wait a minute, Bill, why are you talking about QE? Well, inflation is out there, right? And if inflation is going to accelerate, it's going to accelerate while the Fed's doing QE. And if inflation accelerates, our math shows that ETH does very well under those conditions. So if ETH is the hedge against inflation and ETH is also being burned, we're going to have this theme throughout the stream that you can't go wrong. Well, you can. It's crypto. But when in doubt, spot ETH, not investment advice. Now, if there is a trade to me out there that looks like, all right, let's say I want to buy the dip. I want to get long something now. ETH is great, but you know, is there a big cap 1X out there? And I'm starting to wonder whether or not it's AVAX. I'm hearing a lot about this ecosystem. Our fundamental guys just did a huge deep dive, which our customers got, about this ecosystem. In my work, if AVAX takes out 73, you could be looking as high as 150. So AVAX could have real upside, and it may not dip very much, mainly because it hasn't done anything in like a month. It's been trading between 55 and 73. And sometimes what happens with these coins is that they don't do anything. They frustrate you. They make you think it's over, and then boom, they go. So it's November 1st. Sometime within the next week, we're going to find out what kind of punch the market has. And if it's got punch, it could be ETH and Avalanche. Now, let's talk about the metaverse. Obviously, the metaverse coins all mooned off the Facebook announcement. But if you look at the Facebook chart, it looks like the equity market isn't buying it. Ironically, the equity market doesn't believe in the metaverse. Now, if there was ever a reason to believe in the metaverse, it's that they haven't figured it out yet, or they don't like it. So my point is that, you know, I understand that we in the cryptoverse are not exactly excited about Facebook centralizing the metaverse, but as an investment theme, okay, it's only started. In other words, you may get it, but the equity market hasn't gotten it. And that's a huge group of people. So the metaverse may be like Bitcoin at 10K. You get it, but the equity market will get it after it's 6Xs. So that means theoretically there's room for Facebook to go up, but it may also mean that, you know, the recent shot up in metaverse coins may get met with dip buyers, right? So Mana started at $1. It went to $4. It looks like there's heavy interest between 2.5 and 3, and it's probably Christmas if you got it down to 2. Upside is either $4.10 or $6.50. So it's November 1st, and if you're watching this, you're watching, you know, metaverse video replays on our YouTube channel, which hopefully you're liking and subscribing to. The question is this played out? Has the easy money been made, and is it over? I would say no. And you want to buy the dip here until proven wrong. This year, you've been paid to not FOMO, Shiba Inu style, even though that worked, but it's paid to buy dips in things that are trending. So as long as this metaverse trade is trending or gives you dips, then not investment advice, but I don't think it's too late to get involved because not everyone believes it. Okay, Sandbox is kind of the classic example. It does a 2x or 3x. It goes back down to 150 where there was support. Okay, and now it's moving back and forth between 2.25 and 150. Most likely, everybody who was going to sell it is probably going to sell it in the next 2 to 3 days. And bigger players are going to have to come in and decide whether or not to get involved. And I got news for you. If there's a dip in the crypto market, or if Bitcoin goes stagnant for 4 days, they're going to want to be on this metaverse trade. Because I don't think any crypto hedge fund going into the end of the year, with this being like the last, you know, it's like a party, right? It's time for the last 2 rounds of drinks for November and December, you know, for QE. So that means you got to be on ETH, the metaverse, and probably NFTs, right? In other words, Coinbase launched NFTs. So can you imagine where Sand and Mana go if Coinbase has launched NFTs and if NFTs are the gateway into the metaverse? Okay, switching back to layer ones, we're looking at another frustrating trade that people like, Near Protocol. So Near tried to break out and failed, and now it's breaking out again, but it's coming back down to where it was around 10. So if you got Near around 9.2, hey, that's great. But if not, this may be another one of these trades where, it's either over, right, and you missed it, no big deal, or there's a dip over, say, the next 2 to 3 days, and this thing turns around and takes off to 19. So you can't say, all right, I missed it, I'm bummed out. Or if they wash the market out, because again, November 1st, right? If you're watching this 4 or 5 days later, you might say, okay, this thing dipped, and I'm glad I'm watching the video, and I'm glad I waited. So I don't think you have to be in a huge hurry, but I do think you have to have a list of what to either buy on the dip or go with if Bitcoin breaks out. Near and AVAX, along with the metaverse, are on that list. Now, Phantom. Somebody last time I talked about this was like, dude, this should be an Elliott 5-wave top. And I'm like, this guy could be right. Maybe that was it for Phantom, and the bid is going to switch into AVAX and Near. I don't know. What I do know is that if Phantom tests 250, or if Phantom just has like one big down day, then that might be an opportunity to get in for 4, for a move to 4. It's either that or the trade's just played out and the bid's going to go somewhere else. The level I would focus on is 250. Now, we have a monthly portfolio. So just as a reminder, our sponsor, tokenmetrics.com, we got 50 people in our company, and we would love to have your business. One of the best examples of what we do and why we do it is to give you a way to invest in crypto where you can do so intelligently without figuring out, do I FOMO into this, or how do I do it? So this is the Kraken monthly portfolio. That means we take the exchange Kraken and we use a combination of AI to rank the coins. And then we also use portfolio theory, like from MBA school, to build a portfolio of coins that you could invest in theoretically, okay, and just sit for a month and let AI do some of the work for you. So not investment advice, but let's just break this down slowly, right? Let's start at like 3 o'clock in black, wrapped Bitcoin 6%. And then diagonally across from that in kind of a blush color, Bitcoin 16%. So the portfolio is allocating roughly 22% to Bitcoin still. So the Bitcoin rally may not be over with because the model still seems to like it. So that would probably be good news for crypto, even though Bitcoin may not be the best play out there. Obviously, the model isn't going, okay, well, I'm done with it, and you have to worry. That's why I say, hey, if you get the dip, take advantage of it and have a plan for getting the dip or not. Now, you notice in the bottom, okay, you have Solana, 13% tan, and Ethereum, 13%, kind of a light pink. So it's going with big caps, along with Polkadot at 9%. And then you have GNO, which has been on a run, 1inch, which spiked from 4 to 7. And Smart Money is still buying it. By the way, that was a Novogratz VC play. Mike Novogratz from Galaxy Digital. Axie Infinity, cool NFTs for Christmas. And Engine Coin, which we'll show you later. Again, it's on the trend. So what's our AI telling you? Well, it's giving you some asset allocation. That's why we want to see you over at tokenmetrics.com, because you can get this across all exchanges, monthly, weekly, and even daily. Now, for the market update, this is telling you stay big, stay with the big, bold coins, okay? Because if ETH breaks out and Bitcoin follows or vice versa, then there's still a lot of room on the upside. Now, we talked about 1 inch. 1 inch hit $4 after going all the way up to 7.5. 1 inch, probably around $4.14, is if you're following this and you're going to do this trend thing. After 1 inch broke out from a base that it was in all summer, in other words, 1 inch did absolutely nothing. Nothing. And people just hated it. People were miserable. Like, we liked this coin like, I don't know, 9 months ago. It went up. It did nothing. It frustrates everybody. And then what happens? What always happens in crypto? Like every single time, everybody goes, wow, it's a really good coin, but I give up. I don't want to play anymore. Smart money comes in and it explodes. So, you know, it's not investment advice, but if the market dips over the next 2 or 3 days, talking November 1st, then maybe you jump into 1 inch and see if smart money still wants to buy it. Speaking of smart money, let's talk about Solana. Wow, is this a tough trade, right? Sitting right at the high. So with Solana, the toughest thing to do, and this is true with AVAX too, the toughest thing to do is to buy it at 200, right? Is to say, okay, you know, I know it was at 20, I know it was at 80, but I'm coming in and I'm buying Solana at 200. Now, yeah, you could get a dip, but then again, 4 days ago, you did get a dip. And if you didn't take advantage of it, now you're sitting here and it's at 200. So for what it's worth, I think the best trade is the tough trade. That's an old Paul Tudor Jones motto. Now, I'm not telling you to buy Solana at 200, but what I am saying is if ETH breaks out, or if there's a dip and the market stops and turns, right? That's turn and burn. The market turns because they're burning ETH. You better ask yourself, what do you want to do in Solana? I'm thinking headed into the end of the year that if Solana breaks out, hedge funds are going to have to FOMO in because nobody wants to buy it at 200. And that may be the reason to do so. Okay. Now, if the market gets killed and you get a dip, great. That problem gets solved. But sometimes in markets, it's not easy. It's not easy. Now, speaking of not easy, I've been like relentlessly pounding the table on Polkadot for a while. Polkadot's got a lot of catalysts. And in my opinion, Cardano got to such an incredible market cap that Polkadot, AVAX, Solana, and Near could do something similar, right? So, okay, Polkadot went to 44, went to a big mandate, right? Scared me half to death by dropping below 40, stopping everyone out, washing everyone out, and then what happens? Turns around today, goes up 10%. Now, for all the talking I've done, November 1st, Polkadot, right? What happens if Polkadot ignores the resistance at 50 the way AVAX and Solana ignored their resistance from back in May? Now, if Polkadot stops at 50, you're probably going to have a 4-day market correction. If Polkadot doesn't stop at 50, then that could trigger layer 1 FOMO. So the tough trade in Polkadot is to now sit and wait to see what happens at 50. So I've been pounding the table by the dip, pound the table, this is going up. And now I have to take my own advice and wait. because I don't want to buy the top, but I don't want to miss another Solana either. So over the next 4 days, I'm guessing by the time we go live Thursday, we'll know what the deal is with Polkadot, whether it was wait and see or gap and go. And that, folks, is the market update. Stay tuned later in the stream, all right, for altcoin overtime. So what we're going to do is we're going to let you just hit the like button on every device you have and call your friends. And I am going to turn this over to my colleague Forrest, who I got the sneak preview before the show. It's part of what makes this show great is that we actually work together to bring you like a cohesive market view. So let me turn it over to Forrest, and he can give you the expert view on what's going on in the crypto world.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to jump into Bitcoin chart. And something really, really interesting lately has been happening on the Bitcoin chart. So we've been getting, or kind of seeing this pattern develop, and that's the bump and run pattern that we've seen play out so well for Bitcoin repeatedly over and over and over throughout this bull market. I mean, we can see it literally over here, right? We get a downtrend line. We get a drop below it. We break it, but then we've got to find support on top of it before going higher. This is a fantastic dip buying pattern or a reversal pattern for Bitcoin in a bull market and for other altcoins for that matter, right? So what we're seeing is we had our all-time high, just over 66K, right? We had our downtrend line get established. We broke above our downtrend line. We broke it, and we came back down, and we found support on top of it. Now, the most recent point at which we found support on top of our downtrend line, I'm going to zoom in here so you can see that, was, I believe it was earlier this last night at some point. These are 4-hour candles. So, but ultimately, this touch of the trend line was the intersection of our trend line support at 59,400, as well as our 3x margin pressure level. I'm going to zoom out to the daily so you can see this support level. And I'm going to zoom out because this is a very, 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 very strong support level, 59,650. The reason it's a very strong support level in this bull market, in this uptrend, is that because as soon as price drops below $59,650, you can then go long on Bitcoin and hide your liquidation point below this $39,600 level, right? This local low. Why would you want to do that? Well, because you can almost treat it as buying spot Bitcoin because you don't have to worry about a liquidation unless things get really, really bad. You're not going to get liquidated if you have your liquidation point below $39,600 unless price drops all the way below $39,600. So as soon as price drops below $59,650, you can take a long-term position, bullish position, long position on Bitcoin, kind of set it and forget it on 3x leverage, amplify your capital by 3 times, and not have to worry about getting liquidated unless price drops well below 40K. Sounds like a pretty good deal given this current market circumstances. Now, could we see a washout to maybe 53K? Yeah, that's why Bill's talking about, maybe we just sit and relax for the next 4 days and see if we get that washout, right? But I'm just trying to explain why we're actually seeing support there and why we actually saw such a big candle off of this bump and run pattern, because it was at the point where we not only did we have our downtrend support, but we had buyers come in on 3x leverage and buy very aggressively here, right? And we've since kind of tried, I'm going to zoom into the hourly, tried on an even shorter time frame off of this big pump to create another bump and run situation, right? If we extend this out. But what happened is we actually, right, we tried to get the support on this level and go up, but we actually broke below it. We actually broke below it, and we're fighting right now to get back above it. So this is actually a really kind of a pivotal point for Bitcoin and a really interesting point for Bitcoin's price action here. We could realistically fall all the way back down, right? All the way back down to this trend line before testing for this bump and run again, right? A lot of bump and run patterns require 2, 3, 4, 5 tests of support on the top of this downtrend line before moving up high above it, right? So a washout all the way back down to either retest this 3x long level or this 2x long level of $58,500, which rests down here, is completely in the cards, right? So we're at 61K right now. If Bitcoin drops $3,000, right? If we drop all the way down here, this bump and run pattern is still in play, right? It's still in play. We still have not violated this trend line, right? And the support that we'd be looking for is in this major support zone, between 58 and 60K. On the way up, it was resistance, but now it's becoming support over and over and over again, right? Look at all the support here. Look at all the support here. We tested below it, found support on this dash line, the 2x long, right? Only to go up above and now test the 3x long, right? And we're finding support. So Bitcoin's continually dancing on this support level, trying to find where support is. To me, it's only a matter of time before Bitcoin kind of breaks upwards. Things are looking bullish. That being said, we need to be smart. If you're trading this, I'd personally want to have a stop loss somewhere in this range, because if we break below $57,000, $58,000 and start closing candles below there, I do think there's a possibility we catch at $56,000. But the real support, in my opinion, does not come in. Let me zoom out to the daily here. Get a hold of my chart. Right now, we're on a wider time frame. Right, the real support on the daily doesn't really come in until we see a washout all the way down to $52,000, $53,000. Right, we could catch a little bit of support in this range, maybe around $56,000, get a bounce. But if we break this 58.5 level, maybe even drop below 58, 57.8, I'm just going to sit tight and wait for it to bounce here and collect some Bitcoin, collect some crypto down here at $53,000, reload, right? So if we drop into this big gap here, right, that's where you can just kind of sit out of the market, right? But right now, as long as we find support on some of these shorter time frame charts, I'm going to zoom back into the 4-hour chart again, and as long as we start finding support on this bump and run pattern, I'm pretty bullish, right? I'm pretty, or at least content to sit in crypto. One thing to keep in mind is we want to see a higher high out of Bitcoin. We want to see a higher high than 63K, right? That would be a bullish sign, because ultimately what we've seen is a case of, and I'm going to delete these just to redraw them, right? Since our all-time high, we've seen a high, right? A lower high, another lower high, and another lower high, right? But if we take it from the bottom here, we had our lower low, and now we've had a higher low, right? A higher low. So what do we want to see? We want to see this come up and make a higher high than 63K, a higher high than this right here. Then we have our reversal pattern of higher low and higher high. And then we're looking for a breakout well above 63K, probably targets up to as high as $79,000 if we break above 63K, and probably 64K, right? We want to make a higher high than this 63.7 as well. Real quick, I want to give a note on Ethereum before I turn it back over to Bill. You go to watchtheburn.com. This is just the net issuance of Ethereum, right? You can just watch how much Ethereum is getting burned because of EIP 1559. If you go to all time, it's now at 60.61%. We've walked through this. I talk about this every single week because it's such a big deal. Ethereum has essentially had a halving, more than a halving, right? The net issuance has dropped by 60% now, right? When Bitcoin's issuance drops by 50%, that's called a halving, and it causes a bull market for all crypto. Now we're seeing that happen with Ethereum, but it's 60%. If we go over the last month, it's 75%. If we go over the last 7 days, it's over 100%. Ethereum over the last 7 days has been deflationary. If we go for just today, it's 103%. And if you look over the last hour, it's 141%. Right now, over the last hour, Ethereum is deflationary. More Ethereum is being burned than is being issued through mining. And it's only going to get more deflationary as Ethereum transitions to proof of stake, or when Ethereum transitions to proof of stake. So if all of this technical analysis and all these altcoins just confuse you, you don't know what to do. You're anxious, you're nervous about a washout. You're worried about what's going to happen to your altcoins if we drop down to 53K, right? And you're worried about a bear market, worried about maybe even everything crashing. When in doubt, you can just buy spot ETH. Yes, if Bitcoin crashes to 53K, will Ethereum crash too? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But it won't crash nearly as hard, right? It won't crash nearly as hard as most altcoins will. And there's an argument to be made that Ethereum could actually hold up better than Bitcoin in the event of a crash this time around because of how much is being burned, right? The supply is getting restricted and it hasn't been priced in yet. Not to the degree of, right, 60% net reduction, and definitely not to the degree of the deflation that we're seeing this week and the deflation that we expect when we move to proof of stake. So when in doubt, you're not going to get an overnight 10x like you might in a meme coin, but if you want to live with that risk and play that game, then by all means go play the meme coin musical chairs, right? Or you could devote a lot of time to becoming a meme coin analyst, and maybe you could get an edge and make a lot of money. But if all of this is just confusing you, right, just get in spot ETH, get long ETH, right? Don't even be leveraged, right? I like right now I'm building a 2x leverage Ethereum position because I don't think it's going to drop by more than 50%. If it drops by more than 50%, then I'll average my liquidation point down so I don't get liquidated. But you don't have to worry about getting leveraged or anything. You can just buy spot ETH and you'll probably get again, not financial advice here. You'll probably experience much higher than normal returns, much higher than average returns just by getting long on ETH. And your risk of drawdown will, in my opinion, be significantly lower, right? Because the upwards momentum on the price. Not to mention, guys, I believe OpenSea, don't quote me here, OpenSea has like 500,000 customers. Coinbase is launching an NFT platform, and they have 2.5 million to 3 million users on the wait list, right? When they launch their NFT platform and give access to NFTs to 2.5 to 3 million customers, by the time they launch it, maybe it'll be even more. What are these people going to have to buy NFTs? ETH. Have to buy ETH. Okay. So Ethereum to me is just I've been saying this for months now. It's the slam dunk. It's the layup. It's like the easy trade. It's not this exciting trade. It's not the thing that's will Ethereum 10x here before the end of the year? No, the Ethereum's not going to go to $43,000 by the end of the year, right? It's not going to $43,000 by the end of the year. So are you going to 10x your money? And are you going to have to watch a bunch of other people 10x their money and other potential altcoins? Yeah. But if you're looking for reasonable by crypto standards, absurd by other standards, traditional market standards, just reasonable returns by crypto standards, ETH is the layup trade. It's the layup trade. Everything is set for it to do extremely well. Now, I think other layer one solutions will do well as well. I think AVAX, I'm particularly bullish on AVAX, Algorand, Solana, right? You got Polkadot and Atom. Yeah, all those Phantom, they're all fantastic projects. They'll probably do well. Is the risk to reward ratio as good as Ethereum? In my opinion, risk's a little bit higher, right? Because they're less established, right? Ethereum has a ridiculous amount of TV. I could go on about Ethereum for days, but I think the risk to reward ratio for Ethereum just makes it the layup trade, the easy trade that, yes, there's always going to be risk in crypto, but it's not going to be, you're not going to be worried about a 95% drawdown like you might be in some of these altcoins. Yes, could there be a 50, 60% drop down? Absolutely, right? But the the tokenomic, the on-chain analysis, everything looks so good for Ethereum that it just seems like the best risk to reward ratio trade that I'm seeing on the market right now, right? So that's enough about ETH. I'm going to pass it back over to Bill.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. When in doubt, listen to Forrest. Seriously. Probably one of the smartest guys out there. I believe Ride Macro was saying that the whole team, which includes Forrest and Mehdi, who you'll see on Thursday, is underrated. Sir, we definitely appreciate that sentiment. I believe Unbuilt was asking about AVAX or Solana. That's a coin flip. Okay. Nobody wants to fade Solana, but AVAX has got some nice chart upside. For Solana, no one cared about the chart on the way up. So if it starts again, if AVAX goes, Solana will go. Sergeant Crypto was asking, how can I find out more about Aurora? We have Mehdi and all of our fundamental guys that work under Forrest deep diving into that platform, and that is for tokenmetrics.com customers. Now, hopefully you've been out there smashing that like button. Please subscribe. Please stay with us. And if you have, we thank you. And I know this is what you've been waiting for. So let's do altcoin overtime. Now, as we begin altcoin overtime, I would consider this list a watch list. Things you can write down and see if over the next 4 days you can pick them up cheaper. So the upside may be in ETH. And the question is, with these altcoins, you can actually help teach yourself in the market. It's like, gee, okay, Token Metrics guys flagged this 4 days ago or 2 days ago or today. And how did it pan out over, say, the next 4 or 5 days? Did I get a dip? If you do get a dip, that could be a sign of how the market is going to move going forward, right? You will get dips. If you don't get a dip, or if it just sort of goes sideways, then that may be an indication that you have to find out what you believe in and then buy the trade and use a stop. Now, Conrad was asking one final point before I get started. He was asking, are the prices and the things you're talking about good for long-term investing, or should I wait for the bear market? All right, so my attitude in crypto is long-term investing is like a 3 to 6 month horizon, especially since this bull market's been going on for a while. So some of the things we tell you, especially about ETH, that could be good for 3 to 6 months. In terms of waiting for a bear market, let me just tell you, folks, bear markets are called bears for a reason. If you run into a bear in the wild and he doesn't like you, it's pretty much over for you. So waiting for the entire crypto market to blow up is not necessarily a good investment strategy, because believe me, because I've been in these bear markets, I've worked in the industry in these bear markets. When the bear market comes, you won't want to buy. You won't even want to be in crypto. That's how nasty bear markets can be. So if you're gonna do well, if you're gonna have a trade that's gonna last anywhere from 3 or 6 days to 3 to 6 months, I think you have to be paying attention on dips to what's going on now. Okay, so with that said, I'm gonna do Decentraland again, Mana. Yes, it was at 50 cents. Okay, you missed it, so what? The metaverse could be a huge theme. I'm noticing people buying dips around 2.5. If this market holds up, it's probably going to turn around and go back to 4. I would imagine there's 2 or 3 days of people taking profits, on their sort of 10x that they got. The key is, if there's a dip, will people be there at 2 to 2.5? I would think yes, because this trade is totally underrated. Facebook stock didn't rally, so stay with the metaverse until proven wrong. People asking for Cosmos, interoperability. This is a 2-day chart. What's been going on in Cosmos? Nothing. You've been getting chopped to bits between 44 and 30. Now, sometimes when something chops around, it means it's lost sponsorship and people don't want to play anymore. Other times, it's a frustration trade. This reminds me of a little bit like AVAX, where people just sit and sit and sit, and they just get bored, and they're dialing into a live stream to go, dude, is this ever going to go up? Right now, normally, if that's the way you feel, then I would stay with this. If you're long it, just stay with it. Because if Polkadot breaks out above 50 and goes to 80, then Cosmos is going to go with it. So it's annoying, but frequently in crypto, annoying is associated with hodling, which is associated with patience, which is associated with long-term returns. Chainlink. So no one wanted it at 24, parentheses when Forrest suggested you look at it. Now it's sitting in the middle of its range at 31. It has a shot at going to 37. Honestly, when it comes to Chainlink, I'd say it was neutral. I think with Chainlink, you want to buy it at 24 and sell it at 37 and almost at 32. There's really nothing to do unless ETH breaks out and DeFi takes off. At which case, you're probably better off jumping into ETH or another altcoin. So not hating on Chainlink. It's got probably $5 worth of upside. Okay. So it looks good. It looks okay, but it's in the middle of its range. And Chainlink is unusual in that respect in crypto, in that it's kind of a trader's dream, right? It's just in a range, and you buy it when everyone hates it and sell it when everyone loves it. Right now, for Chainlink, I would say we're in neutral territory. All right, SHIB. Yes, this is an altcoin broadcast, and we did not forget about SHIB. So when you have a meme coin-led market, you can think of it one of two ways. If meme coins are the only thing going on in this market, then Bitcoin is probably going to go to either 58 or 54K, and they're going to wash the whole thing out, right? If meme coins are the only game in town, you have to worry. I just saw a tweet, I believe it's at Soccer Mom, where this individual noted that her young children are actually keeping illicit material on their computer screens so their parents don't catch them trading low-quality meme coins. They would rather get caught looking at illicit material than they would gambling in meme coins. Now, this is November 1st. I am not going to stop anybody from speculating in this type of stuff. And I'm glad that people are showing interest in crypto and want to get in. Sometimes greed is good. Greed is good. Stupidity is not. So you have to ask yourself, if you're buying a meme coin, are you the smart money? Are you the fish? Or are you the shark? The sharks were buying SHIB way down below. We actually saw it happening. Okay, we're not meme coin analysts, but once SHIB did take off, it was the bigger the base, the higher in the space. So the people who bought meme coins a month and a half ago are now selling to you. So are people going to buy the dip in SHIB? Yes. When SHIB goes up, who are you running into? Fish or sharks? I'm pretty sure that when these meme coins rally, you're running into sharks. So keep them on your watch list, but be an investor, be a trader, be a risk taker, but don't be a moron. Okay, FTX. Man, if you're watching baseball, football, or sports, FTX is all over the place. It looks like 53 is good support in their token. I'm guessing the easy money was made on the move from 28 to 84. But if there was a washout, okay, because they've washed it out to 53 a couple of different times, and it gets more and more difficult for people trying to either hodl it or get involved on any upside. So if there is a washout, I think this is something to look at near 53, because it looks like bulls have been selling, exiting, taking the easy money. And frequently, when bulls exit, once they're out of ammo, that can actually be pretty constructive. Okay. Now, that said, FTT, used to have a high around 50 to 60. So has FTT just gone back to normal and is going to sit? Maybe. But if you have a washout list or a breakout list, keep this on it. Because if the market either reprices from a Bitcoin correction or reprices from an ETH rally, because we're talking on November 1st here. So if you're watching the replay, this thing is either going to break out off ETH or decline off Bitcoin as a correction. So keep that in mind. Now, everyone's asking in the chat about Matic. We were super bullish on this coin. Our founder and CEO, Ian Bellina, made his name again, with like literally 1,000x in this coin over a 2-year period. Okay, Matic broke out of a trend line, of a triangle. Nice looking chart. 295 is a possible target. Is this the greatest risk reward trade where it is right now? Probably not. It was better at $1.40. But certainly if there's a rally in ETH, if the Coinbase effect is going to impact NFTs, then Matic can either go to 295 or higher. So it's not a great chart. It's not a terrible chart. It's paid in Matic to buy on red days. So if you get down days in this, that can be a time to get in. Again, the overall theme of altcoin overtime is make a watch list and then watch it. Okay. So for Matic, if you get a red day and you want to jump in and thinking it's either going to, 240 or 3, take a shot. Now, one of the things that we've been seeing for a while is smart money piling into a DeFi protocol called Eden. Eden was as high as 9 and got completely wrecked off a token unlock, which drove this thing all the way down to 3. Currently on a 4-hour chart, so keep that in mind if you're watching it later. On a 4-hour chart, Eden's been doing like an accumulation cone, right? What's an accumulation cone? Well, it's like this upward sloping range. And I've seen this in Olympus DAO. This is actually probably, the number one formation of 2021 in the altcoin space. So Eden is like winding up. We've seen smart money buying this. This thing could go from 3 back to 6. Now, somebody actually out there mentioned Alpha. It reminds us of Alpha. It's not the same thing by any stretch, but it is the same thing where, Alpha was at like 250. It went to 30 cents. Now it's back at $1. These unique DeFi plays, we're waiting to see if DeFi 2.0 can give those coins a boost. Right now, Eden looks beat up, which could mean it's an opportunity. Audio. Wow. Anybody out there tired of waiting? I'm sure you are, right? This is the 6th time that it's gotten rejected at 225, yet it holds, right? It's not backing off. So I think audio is something you want to watch out for, what I would call a holiday catalyst. In other words, are they going to make they're going to be another announcement that they do something for music headed into the holidays, or is there going to be a metaverse partnership for audio? Because I have no idea. I'm just sort of like being hypothetical as to what changes the game. Nobody wants to buy this coin above 2. And to me, that doesn't make sense. It may make sense to buy it around 2 and hope the catalyst shows up later. Not investment advice. And the overall point, even if audio is done and sits 2, the overall point is if you want to make real money, you have to be willing to live with the pain of sideways action, of boredom. Like the hardest thing to do in trading is do nothing. It's literally just sit and wait. That's how you earn your money. So whether it's audio or something else, consider what happens after bears rejected a certain diagonal line 6 times. What happens if the bulls break through? It's the same thing with 65K in Bitcoin, right? What happens if the bulls go, okay, yeah, I know there's weird stuff with the new futures ETF, but we're taking it up anyway. Or if the bears come in and say, no, we're done, we're taking it to 58. So following the signals and patience can help you. Now, a couple altcoin charts that look interesting. Mask spiked up, recovered above 62% retracement of its recent rally at 9.7. So very interested to see if this coin is actually making a U-shaped bottom and can continue higher. Okay, ticker symbol QTM, very interesting, right? Kind of a breakout. It's really on the move. The old ceiling was around 1625, and that may be support on the way down. So if it is, and if you love the case for this coin, then you can get involved. Otherwise, I say put it on your watch list to see how it performs at 1629 and see if it can go back to 20. The last time it tried to take out 22, it failed badly. Now, that's good and bad. This could mean that, that last failure washed everyone out so that if it goes back up, everybody may pile back in. Some interesting chart here. VeChain, huge fan. Everyone knows this. I've been back, supporting this. I think it's another accumulation cone. I would love it if I could get a dip to 11 cents in VeChain to get involved. Most likely, I won't get that lucky. The only way I'm getting that lucky is if they slam Bitcoin down either 58 or 54. The overall picture is VeChain is in this sort of upward sloping cone. I just can't believe in a world with empty shelves and higher prices that a supply chain solution like VeChain doesn't do better. I mean, I know that's oversimplifying pretty much everything about the coin and the investment theme, but how does a supply chain solution not do well in this world unless the market falls out of bed? Okay, Chiliz, same thing in a way. So the NFT narrative, metaverse, huge moonshot in Chiliz. A lot of people probably using it as a chance to get out because there's probably a lot of trapped longs in here from when this mooned the last time. That said, will people come in and buy this near 46 cents, which was the September high? In other words, NFTs, metaverse, all this stuff that was kind of like blown off, range trading, I don't care, NFTs are slumping. No, wait a minute. This stuff could be way bigger. Forrest and I talked before the show, right? There was kind of like wave 1, wave 2 in NFTs, and you could wind up with some kind of wave 3 off this Coinbase metaverse launch, right? I mean, what happens in the NFT world if, the NBA or Major League Baseball or Mike Novogratz at Candy Digital, which is the subsidiary of Galaxy Digital, what happens if this NFT thing catches fire again? Is it worth it to try to buy a dip once a trend begins? It has been all year. So I'm not making promises in Chiliz, But what I am saying is, if you missed it, that's not a reason to get upset. You can try to buy the dip. Obviously, the other takeaway from this chart is if you try to FOMO in, right? In other words, you don't trade everything else in the market the way you would trade sheep, right? Sheep is if it's up, go with it. There's no dip buying. It's all FOMO. I think this year you've been paid to do just the opposite in non-meme coins. So something to think about there. Okay. Telos is a low cap layer 1. Really interesting Elliott wave look to it. I'm wondering if it can go to either $1.40 or $2.20, assuming it can hold up. Okay. It's on KuCoin, not really high market cap, not investment advice, but I'm wondering if the ETH trade moves, whether or not the speculation that's currently in meme coins switches over to layer 1s and NFTs and the metaverse, right? So if the speculative juices in meme coins don't wreck the whole market, and it could, kind of hope not, but if they don't, speculation could move into big and small layer 1s. Okay, RPL. Okay, an interesting coin. Taking a look at this, a lot of spikes higher, sellers active. A lot of green candles lately. Okay, again, sellers are kind of keeping it down, but it's not falling out of bed. So this is really an unusual case of like a small coin that's kind of moving almost perfectly sideways with the occasional big green candle. So it's either over and sellers are crushing it, or this is something to do your own research on. Okay, Reef, a nice example of one of 2021's classic formations. So 3 cents was a key level, and it was above 3 cents, and then it was below 3 cents, and then it was going to break out, and then it crashed. And then finally, after 2 weeks of you being annoyed out of your mind, it pops, right? Upside target could be 4.5 cents. Okay. So less an example about Reef, less of, oh my God, I have to get in on this right now because resistance, probably at resistance as I speak. But the larger point is there are tons of examples of coins that consolidate around levels that you have to be a believer in it to hold it when it's annoying. You don't hold it or hodl it when it's collapsing, because I see a lot of that, but you want to hodl when it's annoying. Okay. FIDA, 4-hour chart, really interesting looking diamond formation. Key level is $8.46. Last time I saw anything like this was in Polkadot, before the rally started. So Forrest and I also talked about this idea that, when price volatility starts to expand, in other words, you get this coiling process, that's what the diamond is. So to the extent that you see this here, it's a nice pattern, but it's also a good TA lesson in that when you see expanding ranges, that can lead to highly volatile moves. So right now, even though a correction may occur, we're assuming the uptrend is our friend. And even if it dumps, and you're watching this because it's November 1st, so if you're watching this 4 days later and the market's dumped, see where this is. If this is below 8, it could be a pickup. Okay, SLP showing up on smart money radar. It's making a base, meaning it went all the way up and then it crashed and now it's doing nothing. So this could mean that somebody is making a value play out there. So people always ask about the bear market. Jim Cramer from CNBC says there's always a bull market somewhere. And that is true. But in crypto, it's kind of funny. There's also a bear market somewhere. So if you want to see what something looks like in a bear market, this would be it. So I'm not endorsing this coin. I'm just saying that We do see inflows into it. And it's interesting because, this base could continue for months or it could end soon. But the idea is things that are destroyed that go sideways at the bottom of a range are something worth considering. Okay. TLM. It looks like it's the opposite of September, right? In September, everybody was selling rallies. So like went up, went down, tried to go up again. People sold it. Now it looks like it broke out. It's come back down and people are trying to buy it around 25 cents. So again, with these altcoins, once people who get to 2 and 3x take profits, the question is, are dip buyers still showing up? Do you still see small green candles after the market drops? Maybe that's a point I haven't made enough throughout the presentation. In other words, if you see something go up and you're like, gee, what do I do? Well, if it dips after people sell after the 3x, if there are green candles down there and it holds, that means people are coming in and buying a dip. Because remember, this coin, the metaverse, ETH, you could get a dip in Bitcoin. You could get a dip in the overall market. But the thing is, hedge funds, while QE is going on, they got to feast, right? It's eat now because you don't know in 2022. You don't know. You don't know what happens if the Fed stops doing QE in 2022. That means literally they're talking about shutting off the printing press. Now, that's either going to freak the market out now. You're going to have a 4-day, oh my God, or it'll be like a December freak out. All right. Remember, this is an altcoin watch list, not an altcoin FOMO list. Okay. Somebody was asking about Engine. We'll cover that. Okay. Kraken weekly index. Now we're putting this up here because altcoin overtime is brought to you by tokenmetrics.com. And we'd love for you to come over and see these indices, which is groups of coins created by AI and machine learning, as well as MBA-style financial math. So you can build a portfolio and not have all your eggs in one basket. So what is this telling us? Well, I think it's just telling you what Forrest and I told you. 27% ETH, 24% Solana. Right? GNO is in there. That's a DeFi protocol. And Engine is in there as well. So if you're like, gee, I just got here. Thanks, guys, for doing all these charts. Gee, I've been watching a whole bunch of YouTube, but I still don't know what to do. I still don't know how to group my money together. Tokenmetrics.com can help you with that. Now let's go to Engine because I know somebody was asking about it and I want to give you some love out there. Okay, $2.36 was a prior ceiling. Engine fell out of bed at those levels twice, once in May and once in September. There was a huge breakout, and again, it returned, and there were dip buyers. I suspect, based on the way Facebook stock did not move, that people, as in the world, don't get how big the metaverse trade is. So if Engine is in any way involved in that, again, the idea is, are you seeing stalemate? That means, it's green, but there's a lot of wicks both sides. Or if it's just green on dips, it's a sign that there may be another leg to the trend. You may have to wait, okay? Yes, you missed a 2x, okay? Or you missed a 1x, okay? Okay, right? There's always another trade. There's always another investment. It's not like in legacy where you have to wait 4 years for the next big move. In crypto, it can be 4 days. So in Engine, the key is, will 236 act as support? Now, GNO, okay, huge breakout from a teacup and handle back at 300. Our AI has been all over this, all over it. This is a 4-hour chart on November 1st. This takes out 479. It could go to 640. One of the things that our AI has done is it's identified stuff before it goes up. That was Solana. It's identified Bitcoin as something that was trending and stayed with it. Did the same thing with Solana. Started at like 30 and it stayed with it. One of the things it seems to be staying with right now is this GNO coin from the DeFi universe. So yes, 479 is resistance. Yes, it's late in the trade, but our AI doesn't come off momentum trades easily. Okay, if it's trending and sitting like Solana and ETH, our AI will stay with it, which goes along with this whole theme. In other words, why are you listening to me or not someone else? Or why should you subscribe to tokenmetrics.com? Well, I use tokenmetrics.com to do my work. I didn't wake up one day and go, oh, patience is a virtue. It is, but there's evidence from the coins and the way we look at it to support the idea that that patience is a virtue strategy could be an investing strategy, not investment advice. Okay, GHST, okay, took out its high around 234, and it's now a test to see if the ceiling is now the floor. Now, if you've watched this whole show, we love you. Thank you for doing that. That's probably the 12th time you've heard me say the ceiling becomes the floor. There's a huge theme throughout the market. So if there is no Bitcoin correction, if the ETH burn really is the turn for the rest of the market, then you want to find situations where something has broken out, returned, and made a ceiling into a floor. Okay, GMEE, game with two E's. A metaverse NFT robot kind of play looked pretty cool to me. Okay, 38.60, right? 38 cents and change was a ceiling. Okay, couple different ways to look at the chart of this. But again, is the metaverse trade played out? Okay, so this was a 5X. So maybe the easy money has been made here in that 3-day period. But you won't know because the metaverse trade really has only just started. That's my view. Okay, now everyone always asks, because people miss the stream, what about Polkadot? Polkadot, other than the fact that we've been all over it, pounding the table to the point of being obnoxious, Polkadot has reached the long talked about resistance at 50. Now, either meme coins have wrecked the market in terms of setting off a sell signal about emotional trading, also known as froth, and Bitcoin needs to wash people out to 58, or DOT's going to take out 50. So all throughout altcoin overtime, you've been listening to me going, wow, Bill, I mean, how are we supposed to know the difference? Like, how do we know? Okay, well, if ETH goes up and DOT takes out 50, okay, even if Bitcoin isn't trading well, it's probably on in altcoins. Because Solana and AVAX, one of the hallmarks of their rally is that they totally ignored resistance back in April and May. So, should you FOMO into Polkadot at 50? Probably not, right? In other words, this is where the non-believers who came in at 20 and 30 may be selling to FOMO players at 50. Now, that said, if people sell at 50 and that doesn't stop Polkadot, I don't know what is going to stop Polkadot, right? I mean, Cardano achieved massive valuation. Cardano was like below ETH. It's like the number 3 crypto. Polkadot's Web3. So Polkadot could do that. No problem. I had 80. My colleague Mehdi has 100 theoretically. So Polkadot can go way higher. The question is, can it break out? Wait for the breakout in Polkadot. Friends, that is altcoin overtime. And that was a lot of overtime. It's like, Forrest, how you doing out there, man?
Hey, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, that's a lot of altcoins, guys. If you enjoy that segment, please do like, comment, and subscribe. All three, they all help. And one thing that you can really do to help us out as well, not only at the beginning of these live streams, but even at the end, you can actually hit the share button, and especially on Twitter, even if you don't have a big following on Twitter, that still goes out there and still puts our link to this live stream out there. So that's something that you can do if you want to support the channel and support Token Metrics and see more of this type of content. That lets us know that you enjoyed the content, because we look at those numbers. We look at the number of people that are liking. We look and then we go back and we try to give and create the content that you guys like, right? So if you enjoy the content, let us know by doing so, by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I don't know about you guys, but that's probably my favorite session personally, is altcoin overtime.
All right. Well, I definitely appreciate that for us, and we hope the audience appreciates it. We put a lot of work into not only coordinating our market views, okay, which is pretty rare in crypto, right? So you have two guys who do a lot of chart work and a lot of research, who get together, coordinate their views, and deliver it to you via via TV. Speaking of TV, okay, Token Metrics does have Token Metrics TV for subscribers. So if you like this and you want more of it, like, me every day, Forrest doing TA, other guys doing deep dives on ecosystems. I know, like, the comments are just lit up. Okay, guys looking for more and more content, more and more coins. Token Metrics not only gives you the AI and machine learning, but it gives you more of us. And we want to give you more of us on YouTube as much as we can. But if you want to see the stream, good for you for being here for free. But if you want to see the replay, right, watch it on your own time. Like, for example, if you're seeing a clip of this in Asia, all right, you want to get over to Token Metrics TV so you can watch the full replay. Because there's nothing like, say, altcoin overtime, right? If I develop a watch list, and to see whether or not the coins on that watch list fall out of bed or hang in. Because somewhere in there may be a winner, or if none of them are a winner, then that's a signal about the market and about altcoins. So stay with us on YouTube. We love being here for you. Stay on our YouTube channel, right? We release clips throughout the week. It could be 2 or 3 days old. So don't hate on us for that, but we got to eat too. We would love to have you come on over to tokenmetrics.com and stay with us here. We're streaming Mondays and Thursdays. When? All right. Well, I believe we go at 4 p.m. Eastern on Monday. Correct me if I'm wrong. And we go 11 a.m. Eastern on Thursday. Stay with us, and we thank you. This is Bill Noble from Token Metrics TV. On behalf of my colleague, Forrest, we will see you next time.